This video is sponsored by Supply Handlers. The World Cup is supposed to be the place where rivalries play out on the pitch. Some of the ugliest fights happen off it, inside the camp between players and the men who pick them, or between a squad and the reporters sent to cover them. Today we are going through 10 times a World Cup team turned on itself, and the first 2 are happening right now in this tournament while the games are being played, and they show how fast a tournament can swallow a team from the inside. Number 10. South Korea against their own press. This happened recently. At a training session on June 7th, a JTBC camera caught 2 media figures mocking Son Heung-min. One asked if he was running like a platoon leader and joked that he looked as if he were in the army. Another said the players haven't even served and do not know the first thing about the military. Military service is sensitive in South Korea, and the backlash was immediate. After Korea's 2-1 win over Czechia, Son reportedly refused interviews with Korean reporters, and the squad followed him. Scheduled interviews were cancelled, one newspaper was told to withdraw a piece, and a press corps member resigned. The Korea Football Association condemned the remarks and demanded respectful reporting. Korea remained alive in the tournament, but entered their next group match with relations between the team and media in open collapse. Number 9. Tunisia firing a coach after one game, also this World Cup 2026, and even quicker to fall apart. Tunisia opened their Group F campaign against Sweden on June the 15th and were taken apart 5-1, with Yassine Ayari, whose father is Tunisian, scoring twice against the country of his heritage. Local reports described physical altercations breaking out inside the Tunisian camp once the final whistle went. Within 2 days, the federation had sacked Sabri Lamouchi, who called the defeat painful and admitted his players had made serious individual mistakes. He became the first manager in World Cup history to lose his job after a single match at the tournament itself. The experienced Frenchman Hervé Renard was lined up to take over for the rest of the campaign, with Tunisia already staring at an early exit before they had played a second time. Number 8. France and the bus mutiny. South Africa 2010 and the beaten finalists from 4 years earlier came apart from the inside. Striker Nicolas Anelka was sent home after a furious halftime row with coach Raymond Domenech during the defeat to Mexico. The squad reacted by refusing to train in front of the watching cameras, sitting on the team bus in protest while the staff waited. The fitness coach walked away from the session in disgust, and a senior team official quit on the spot, announcing his resignation to reporters at the side of the pitch. France lost to the hosts, went out at the group stage without a single win, and came home to a government inquiry. It is still the benchmark every other World Cup collapse gets measured against. Subscribe if you enjoy the stories behind football's biggest disasters, because the next few divided an entire country. Number 7. Roy Keane against Mick McCarthy. Before the 2002 World Cup, Ireland's captain looked at the training base on the Pacific island of Saipan and did not hold back. Keane laid into the poor pitch, the kit that had gone missing, the standards around the camp, and the management running it. Manager Mick McCarthy raised the complaints in front of the whole squad, and the confrontation became one of the most furious bust-ups in Irish sporting memory. Keane was sent home before a ball had been kicked. Ireland still reached the second round and pushed Spain to penalties, but they did it without the best midfielder in the world, and the country argued over who was in the right for years afterwards. Number 6. Ghana, cash and 2 stars flown home. Ghana's 2014 campaign in Brazil fell apart in a row over money. The players threatened not to take the field unless their appearance bonuses were paid up front, and the government ended up flying roughly $3 million in cash out to the squad to keep them on side. Then it got worse. Just before the deciding group game against Portugal, Ghana sent midfielder Sully Muntari home over an alleged physical confrontation with a federation official, and forward Kevin Prince Boateng home for what officials called verbal abuse aimed at the coach. Ghana lost to Portugal and dropped out at the bottom of their group, and the plane full of cash became the story that stuck. Number 5. Cameroon, a plane refusal and a teammate headbutt. Cameroon reached that same 2014 tournament only after their players first refused to board the flight to Brazil over an unpaid bonus deal. The trip eventually went ahead, and once the football started, it unraveled completely. Against Croatia, Alex Song was sent off for driving an elbow into an opponent's back. Then came the moment nobody forgets, when defender Benoit Asu Ekoto squared up to his own teammate Benjamin Mukanjo and headbutted him during the match in full view of the cameras. It was a team at war with itself in front of the world, beaten 4-0 and dumped out at the bottom of the group.
Hey fam, this is your chance to build the jersey collection you've been waiting for. The Goal 90 bundle deal is live. Buy 2 jerseys and get 10% off. Buy 3 and get 15% off. Buy 4 and get a massive 25% off. Club kits, country kits, retro classics, pick your favourites and save big. And yes, every order comes with free worldwide shipping. The deal runs only until the end of May. Goal 90 bundle deal. Buy more, save more. Shop now at Goal 90 Shop.
Number 4. Spain sacking Lopetegui on the eve of the tournament. Spain arrived at the 2018 World Cup among the favourites and then lit a fire under their own campaign. 2 days before the opener, Real Madrid announced Julen Lopetegui as their next manager, a deal the Spanish Federation said it had known nothing about. The Federation president read it as a betrayal and sacked Lopetegui on the spot, with the first game against Portugal already looming. Fernando Hierro stepped in with barely any time to prepare a contender. Spain drew that opener 3 each against Cristiano Ronaldo, then limped out in the round of 16 on penalties to the hosts Russia, their best generation in years undone before kickoff. Number 3. Togo and the coach who walked out. Togo were at their first ever World Cup in 2006 and could not even reach the first whistle without a crisis. A pay dispute between the players and the federation boiled over, and head coach Otto Pfister quit during the build-up, unwilling to work in the middle of the standoff. He did come back before the tournament was over, but the campaign was defined by the chaos rather than anything on the grass. Togo lost all 3 matches and went home early, the argument over money far louder than anything they managed on the pitch. Number 2. Argentina losing the dressing room in Russia. Argentina went to the 2018 World Cup with Lionel Messi and stumbled badly, and after a 3-0 hammering by Croatia, the reports claimed the players had effectively stopped listening to coach Jorge Sampaoli. Stories went around that senior figures in the squad were picking the team themselves. The Argentine Federation pushed back on the strongest versions of those claims, but Sampaoli did go public to complain about the way he was being treated through it all. Argentina scraped into the last 16 and then lost to France, and the whole episode sat somewhere between proven dysfunction and rumour that nobody could ever fully pin down. Number 10. One Netherlands and too many stars. The Dutch turned up at the 1990 World Cup as European champions with Ruud Gullit, Marco van Basten, Frank Rijkaard and Ronald Koeman all in the side, and almost no peace in the camp. Reports at the time pointed to a squad split over the coaching setup and the players' roles, with the long shadow of Johan Cruyff hanging over the question of who should be in charge. All that talent produced 3 drab group draws and then a defeat to West Germany in the last 16, the match where Rijkaard was sent off for spitting at Rudi Völler. A side built to win the whole thing never managed to win a single game of the 4 it played, so those were 10 World Cups where the real fight happened inside the camp, not on the pitch. And if you think bonus disputes and dressing room wars belong to the past, remember that 2 of these feuds are unfolding right now before some teams have even played their second match. Subscribe for more World Cup stories and watch the next video, because one question still hangs over every team left. What is being said behind the doors that have not opened yet?